It's Monday, October 16th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show in store for you today. On today's show, we will get the principal's perspective with West Villages Elementary School Principal Kirk Gibbons. Then we will learn about the upcoming STEM event taking place at Cape Cod Community College with STEM Events Coordinator Kristen Kibblehouse. After that, we will get all the information you need on fall golf with Director of Golf Operations Bruce McIntyre. And finally, we'll learn about some recent seabird rescues with Natural Resource Officer Sean Cordes. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The Recreation Division is teaming up with the American Red Cross to offer a one-day first aid, CPR, and AED certification course. The course will take place on Saturday, November 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The certificate received for completing the course will be good for 2 years. The cost is $75 for residents and $150 for non-residents. Space is limited, so sign up now by going online to the HYCC website, or you can sign up right at the HYCC. The Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills Fire Department offers a free senior home safety program for residents 65 years of age or older. Fire personnel will come to your home to ensure that it is safe and will help install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, change batteries and alarms, install house numbers, and many more important general fire safety services. Please call the COM Fire Prevention Office at 508-790-2375, extension 1, to set up an appointment today. Spending a day at the Sandy Neck Beach House at the halfway point offers artists a special Cape Cod experience. Driving through the dunes to the back road sparks the creative juices with views of the marshes, the dunes, the expanse of sky, and the changing colors of the seasons. Those who have joined artist Betsy Payne Cook on one of her artist instructional and plein air painting workshops at this magical place will come together to display their artwork at Barnstable Town Hall starting today, October 16th through November 30th. Paintings and drawings can be viewed in the Town Hall Hearing Room and the Selectmen's Conference Room, second floor of Barnstable Town Hall. Now let's get a principal's perspective with West Villages Elementary School Principal Kirk Gibbons.
So I'm Kirk Gibbons. I am the principal of West Villages Elementary, serving the villages of Osterville, Cotuit, and Marston's Mills. We are the largest K-3 school in Barnstable. We have approximately 458 students here from kindergarten through third grade. West Villages Elementary promotes academic excellence for all students by providing an atmosphere that is inclusive and focused on creating problem solvers who are ready to lead the community in the future ahead of us. We are a community of learners and teachers who are committed to a positive, a safe, a responsible, a respectful environment for all that is constituted of parents and teachers and students who look to be socially aware, compassionate, and excited about learning and the arts. I don't want to overstate things, but our staff here are really committed to finding the best for every child. They are as passionate and compassionate group of people as you could ever find. Every one of them is committed to working together for the sake of all. They give 150% every day. It's not uncommon to see them here at late hours and on weekends, just doing for students and for their families. We have a long history of working for the community as well, and that's run by teachers and by parents. So a couple of years ago we did some phenomenal work with the American Heart Association and with Jump Rope for Heart and for a couple of different things. So it's just a very socially minded, nurturing atmosphere that really seeks the best for all. It's interesting, in schools I think we've started to finally make the shift from including technology for the sake of it being technology into more of a functional way of doing business. And what I mean by that is at one time a pencil was high technology, and now it's just a tool for doing what we need to do. We are starting to use a different variety of devices to do different things. So whether it's our students utilizing Kindles for an online book e-library, or it's a class using iPads for an online assessment, or it's a research center of laptops, or the teacher is leading through an activity through a smartboard. You'll see all of those things at play when they're appropriate, depending on the content of the lesson. But no technology is going to replace the going outside and explaining why leaves change either. So it's a balance, and it's everything in its place and at the appropriate time for the goals that you have set for students. We've got a wildlife habitat in the center of our school, in our center courtyard, and so a number of our students will interact with how different bird feeders work and what that means for their migratory patterns and all of those types of details that involve the surrounding ecosystem that we live in. There's not too much that you face in the world that doesn't at its heart start on a playground too. Everybody wants their way, everyone wants their way now. So we have to learn to get along together. And when my way is different than your way, how do we find a way together? So those are some basic sorts of problem solving that we always do with kids. But even amongst the societal issues that are out there, all of our teachers in some form or another bring in some of the events happening in our community to talk about and apply the things that they're learning. Our current reading curriculum, which is published by National Geographic, has a lot of the science and social studies content that's applicable to their world for purposes of not only gaining bits of data, but how do we live and move and have our being in this world? I think that when students leave West Villages, I want them to be solidly prepared with the intellectual, the emotional, the social tools to go after the best that our education system, but also the world has for them. And so that's, when I talked about our mission being to develop our community's future leaders, that's what I mean, that they're able to not merely exist within a community, but take the initiative to lead the way in where we go next, because they're the ones to do it.
Up next, we will learn all about the upcoming Science in the Street STEM event at Cape Cod Community College with STEM Events Coordinator Kristen Kibblehouse. Thank you so much, Kristen, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk a little bit about 4Cs and their STEM programs. Can you kind of explain what STEM exactly is?
So STEM is the acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math, and we see it a lot in schools now. Well, in the past that it was more structured, like you took like your science class and then you would take your math class, and now we're trying to bridge them all together, make it more interdisciplinary instead of just having those like rigid walls, and be like, they do all tie together. When you are doing science, you're not just looking at a leaf, you might be doing math involved, and so it all does come together and branch together, and so that's what STEM is.
Yeah, it all kind of, they interwork with each other, so it's important to look at them that way, because then it helps you maybe understand everything that you're working on, and not just, like you said, putting in individual boxes. So
Exactly.
That's great. So the big event that you guys have coming up is the Science on the Street Cape Cod. It's happening this coming Saturday, the 21st. What can you tell me about this great event?
So this event, we're going to have it at Cape Cod Community College. It is a free event open to the public, and what we're doing is showing what great STEM things that Cape Cod has to offer. So either if that's businesses, research groups, nonprofits, we have over 20 exhibitors coming in to show what they have here. So we have Woods Hole Research Center coming in. We also have the National Marine Life Center in Bourne, but then we also have people like, his name is Glenn Davison, and he's from Kiting USA, and he is doing like physics with kites. So it's really a wide range of topics. We also have, do you know what Lego redos are?
No.
Okay, so they're these really cool things. I love Legos.
I mean, who doesn't love Legos?
Exactly. So what they is it is a program where they teach computer programming as well as the engineering with the Legos. So you go through the steps to maybe make a Lego alligator, and then you can go on the computer and then program the movements, and then you can like attach your Lego to a motor and then like make the alligator chomp. And so we'll have a like Lego lab set up in one of the computer labs on campus as well, so kids can play with Legos and make them move.
That's so cool. What a fun, like, because kids, all kids love Legos. I mean, that's the 6 to probably 12, even 14-year-olds are like obsessed with Legos. So that's a great way to show, how, bridge that gap between play and science and technology and bring all that together. So that's really cool that you'll have that day.
I like to call that like sneaky science and like sneaky learning, because they really don't know that they're doing coding and engineering and like figuring out different ways to put things together. They just think they're playing with Legos and making it move. So
that's awesome. What other kind of things can we expect to see on that day?
So Cape Cod Community Media Center, they're bringing in their green screen, and they're going to do like science behind green screen, so the kids can go on the computer, figure out how to program it to different backgrounds, and then actually go play with the green screen and then see how those actions work as well.
That's really cool.
And then, so Cape Cod Community College, you do have a aviation maintenance technology program, so they will be there, and they're going to bring their welding simulator and then their painting airplane simulator. So that's how they actually teach the students on how to do these things as well. And then our engineering program, they're going to bring out their robot. So then you're able to learn how you can program the robot and like make it do like picking up objects and things like that. So those are some other things.
So this event happening on Saturday, October 21st from 11 to 4. It's not just for kids, though. It's for anybody in our, our community that is interested in learning about the STEM programs that you guys have at Cape Cod Community College. And it just sounds like you have some amazing programs there.
Yes,
I didn't know you had. I knew about the airplane part of it, but I didn't know that you guys had a robotics lab.
Yes, we do.
Is that new within the past couple of years?
Yes,
or? Yeah,
it is. It's fairly new.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are all the students like really excited to like show off what they do?
Yes, they are. We do have student and volunteers that will be helping throughout the day. They love doing it. They love that. And they really love the Lego lab the most because they get to play with Legos all day and teach kids on how to use the software. But yes, they love teaching this the public coming in about what they're doing in their classes as well. And so that's why I really like this event, because like students are showing what they're learning as well as, and the community is coming in and learning as well. And when we did this event before, I met with an older couple. They brought their grandkids there, and they said, we've been living here all our life and we didn't know that any of this was here. So it's really cool to see like the public is learning and what they can actually go out and do here on Cape Cod.
That's so cool. So I just want to remind everybody that this event is happening this Saturday, October 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Cape Cod Community College. Is there anything else you want to let our viewers know about before I let you go?
Okay, so if you want to follow the Cape Cod Regional STEM Network on any of our social media to find any updates for Science on the Street, or as well as just follow what really cool STEM things are happening here on Cape Cod, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So just search us and you will find us, and we hope to see you on Saturday.
Great. Thank you, Kristen, so much for joining us today.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it. My guest today is Kristen Kibblehouse. She is the STEM Events Coordinator at Cape Cod Community College. Coming up, we will learn about some recent seabird strandings at Sandy Neck with Natural Resource Officer Sean Cordes. But first, let's hear all about fall golf with Director of Golf Operations, Bruce McIntyre. We're here at Hyannis Golf Course with Bruce McIntyre. He's the Director of Golf. So we're going to talk about fall golf. What can you tell me about fall golf this time of year?
Fall golf is a must.
Yeah.
Fall golf can't be beat. The temperatures are nice when it's not raining. The course conditions are better in the fall than they are in the summer. It's just a fantastic time to play golf if you can get out. It doesn't look very busy around here now, but we're expecting a large outing later on in the day.
So it's going to be very busy.
Going to be very busy. September and October are outing months. Hyannis will probably see 10 to 15 large-scale outings. When I say large-scale, 150 plus participants coming from all over, not just around the Cape. Many people are coming into town. They're staying in our hotels and they're eating in our restaurants, and they're helping the economy at the same time. We do large food and beverage functions here, as well as golf. And days like today, this is what fall golf is all about.
Yeah, you can't beat it, especially it's September, October. It's you're getting in those lower temperatures during the days. Upper 60s, low 70s. It's got that'd be when I would want to golf if I was a golfer.
We see, as we do in the spring and May and June, in September and October, we see the same thing. The traveling golfer, not just the pass holders. The traveling golfer is much more apt to come down to the Cape and play a number of different golf courses over a course of a week. And this is also outside of outing season, it's golf packaging season. We do a ton of work with a number of different hotels and motels and run golf packages, and they get their hotel and come and play golf, and we're very busy with that as well. So it is the time to be here if you're a golfer.
That's great. I know right now you have a new member special going on.
Yeah, we started this a couple of years ago as a kind of a perk to get people interested in Barnstable golf and to maybe dangle that carrot to get them to come on over and join. In the month of October and starting pretty much right now, we're offering essentially 18 months of golf for the price of 12.
Wow.
So if you join now up into the month of October, you can play for free until March 31st of 2018. Your membership or your annual pass starts April 1st and runs to the 31st of 19. We've been doing this the last few years, and it's been a real good way to kind of sway people who were maybe on the fence to come on over and give us a try, and our retention's been excellent.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a great deal for everybody.
Yeah, you can't really beat it, and depending on how the winter goes, I mean, you could be golfing in December, January, February, fingers crossed.
Cape Cod has that reputation of being the home of winter golf. Hyannis Golf Course is open year round, except for when it's buried under snow.
Right.
So there is the opportunity, and just in the month, of October, if we have good Indian, summer weather going into October, November, you've got your money's worth already.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there are people out there that are,
Absolutely.
diehards that will want to get out
a
there.
lot of people will come and play the course or each course a couple of times, like them. They may be new to the area or non-residents who are coming in to give us a try. And when we offer this, it makes it a whole lot easier for them to say, you know what, this could be my home next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, the retention after them joining the first year has been excellent. So we'll keep most everybody.
And the Hyannis Golf, the building itself, has gone through a couple of renovations over the last year.
Yep.
I know that you have new bathrooms, you have this beautiful new deck on the back of the building. So, if you're not a golfer, you could come out, have some food.
Well, I mean, at both golf courses,
Yep.
with the clubhouse renovations, the view from the restaurant at either course and the deck at Old Barney, sunset, great place to sit back and enjoy the view, relax, maybe watch a few skydivers jump out and fly by. But you don't have to be a golfer to come over and enjoy, and the scenery can't be beat.
No,
it's pretty.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
Both courses are amazing, and you guys do such a great job here. So.
Well, we try. We've got a good staff out there, and this is what we're here for.
Great. And if people are interested in finding out more about what you guys going on, what's the website that you guys use?
www.barnstablegolf.com.
Great.
Yep.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining
You're
us
very
today.
welcome. Thank you.
My guest today is joining me now on the phone is Natural Resource Officer Sean Cordes. Thank you, Sean, so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about a little bit about the storm that we had last week. I know it caused a couple of issues out at Sandy Neck. We've had light erosion and some bird stranding. So let's start with the front beach. How is that looking right now?
Good overall. So yeah, the storm lasted, for a pretty long period of time. The way it hit, we got a lot of northeast wind, so very similar to our standard nor'easters we get in the off season in the winter. But sort of drawn out for a long period of time. Overall, the beach did well. The dunes themselves, very minimal erosion. The front beach, however, the off-road vehicle corridor, did lose quite a bit of sand, so it's in more of a winter profile now, which means the higher areas where you drive, where there's a clearly delineated berm and an obvious toe of the dune, all of those have sort of blended together, and it's just a low slope down to the water. So the sand's a lot softer, a little harder to see where the proper spots are to park and where to drive, but it's pretty natural, and that'll build itself back up again as we get more southeast wind into next year.
Okay. If anybody's planning on heading out to Sandy Neck, do you have any tips for them if they're going to go on the off-road trail?
Yeah, I'd say just to drive in the standard tracks that you see out there. The tracks are laid down, in the right spot. There's not a fence line anymore to keep people out from going higher, but it is pretty apparent, where you shouldn't be driving in that sense. And then just keeping an eye on the tides as far as parking, because at this point, even a 10-foot high tide can cut off some spots in the beach, and it comes up pretty fast because there is like just a very minimal slope. So if you're around at high tide on the beach, you just really want to keep an eye out on where your vehicle is.
Okay, good. Good to know. We also wanted to talk about, you guys had some bird rescues that you did during the storm last week. I know you've rescued quite a few gannets and some other birds. What can you tell me about this?
Yeah, so most of the birds that we rescued are seabirds, or pelagic species of birds, which means they spend the majority of their life out in the open ocean. So a lot of these birds, really the only time that you'd see them on land is on some islands and areas like that where they might nest, but otherwise they're flying above over the open ocean and actually landing in the water to rest. So what happens is when we get a lot of these storms, especially up here, it's the nor'easter style storm. These birds sort of get pulled in by the wind, and they're fighting the wind for a long period of time, and they start to get tired, sort of stressed out, and they can't necessarily land in the water because the surf's really high and it's pretty dangerous, and they're still going to be fighting the elements. So after a long period of time, especially in this case where we had about 4 or 5 days of northeast wind, they start to get grounded on our beaches and marshes, and even in some cases out in the middle of the road in Hyannis.
Oh, wow.
And they have to land because they're tired and they need rest. But unfortunately, these birds have not adapted to sort of be on land. They don't know how to take off from land, or they can't really efficiently take off from many of these areas. So ultimately, if they're not rescued and brought to a proper rehab facility, they'll either succumb to the elements or stress out too much and ultimately die. So it's been we've been doing a lot of work over the course of that storm last week in rescuing many of these birds that were on the beach or in the dunes or in the marsh, and capturing them and getting them over to Cape Wildlife. We can't thank enough for all the work that they've done to help us getting these birds back out into the wild. So even in many cases, especially with these gannets, they look like they have a lot of energy, and they'll still, defend themselves pretty good and fight back. But ultimately, if they don't get that care, then they would end up dying. So far from what I've seen, it's been really pretty successful. I know they've already released quite a few of the gannets back out to sea, which was awesome to see.
Yeah.
We also have shearwaters and northern fulmar and petrels, Jaegers, all sorts of seabirds that can end up in here. And throughout the winter, from these sort of storms. So if anybody's out on the beaches and they see these birds that look like they're in need of help, we certainly encourage them to, if they're in the town of Barnstable, to call Natural Resources, or if they're at Sandy Neck, to call Sandy Neck, and we'll, respond and help try and rescue those birds and get them the proper care that they need.
Interesting. I didn't know a lot about seabirds, and as you said, they're pelagic birds because they live out on the sea. I didn't know a lot about them, so it's great to know that, we had the video that you had, and the bird looked, really lively and was trying to get away from you, but it definitely does not have the energy it needs to get back out to sea. So it's important for you guys to do that. And like you said, Cape Wildlife is such a help rehabilitating these birds and getting them back out. It was interesting seeing they did a release, and you guys were still, saving a few more birds while they were also releasing some. So
yeah, exactly. It's been excellent. So.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Sean, so much for chatting with us today and letting us know about how you guys fared through the storm last week and some of the bird rescues you've been doing. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. My guest today is Natural Resource Officer Sean Cordes. Now let's take a look at our community calendar. The Barnstable Education Foundation will be holding their 3rd annual Run for Success on November 11th at Centerville Elementary School. The races will begin at 10 a.m. and will include a 5K and a 10K run or a 5K walk. The Barnstable Education Foundation's purpose is to receive, raise, and administer funds for the benefit of the students in Barnstable Public Schools. So come on down on November 11th and support the Barnstable Education Foundation. For more information, please visit www.barnstableeducationfoundation.org. Now let's take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with another great show for you. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.